The lantern's glow cut through the dusty window of the old ranch house, the first sign of life Jack Harlan had seen there in over a decade. He swung down from his saddle, every ache in his battle-hardened frame screaming caution. Out here in the Texas Panhandle, 50 miles from Amarillo, unexpected visitors spelled bad news rustlers, squatters, or worse. His old Remington revolver weighed heavily on his belt as he eased the door open. What he found inside stopped him cold. A woman perched in Margaret's rocking chair, flipping through Margaret's old journal by the dim light of a kerosene lamp. Her auburn hair tumbled down like autumn leaves in the wind, those same slender fingers that had once brushed his cheek, the elegant sweep of her neck that still haunted his nightmares. Margaret, the name slipped out like a ghost from his lips. She glanced up, her hazel eyes locking onto his familiar, yet sharper, more alive. "I'm Sophia," she said softly. "Margaret's sister." Jack's fingers twitched toward his gun. In that instant, the fortress he'd built around his shattered heart started to crack. 10 years of isolation, 10 years grieving a faithful wife, and now Thiza, living echo of the woman he'd lost, invading his sacred space. What does a man do when the dead come knocking, wearing a face that stirs forbidden fires? When loyalty clashes with a hunger he thought long buried. Texas Panhandle, October 1895. The relentless wind whipped across the plains, carrying the dust of a fading cattle empire. But Jack Harlan had grown numb to it all. Numbness had been his shadow for 10 brutal years. He hadn't always been this way before the winter of '85 stole everything that mattered. Memories hit him like a branding iron. Margaret Hayes, fresh off the Santa Fe Railroad in Amarillo at 22, all Kansas City elegance in her lace gown and sapphire brooch, eyeing the world like it was hers to conquer. But when she looked at Jack, a rugged cowboy with scarred knuckles and a sun-baked face, she saw more than the locals did. She saw a future. "You don't say much," she'd tease at that first barn dance, her hand light on his sleeve. "Not much worth saying to high society types." He grunted back, always straight shooting. Her laughter rang out like wind chimes on a porch. 2 months later, she ditched her family's fortune for him, swapping velvet for gingham, opera houses for a clapboard shack under the vast Texas sky. For 3 blissful years, it worked. He'd catch her singing while frying eggs, or racing out to meet him after a long day herding steers. Her letters to little sister Sophia brimmed with tales of quiet joy in their simple life. "I never knew peace could feel this wild," she'd whispered one night, head on his chest as the stars blanketed the prairie. Then the killer winter struck in January 1885. Blizzards buried the land in snowdrifts taller than a man on horseback, temperatures plunging to 30 below. Livestock froze in the fields. The world turned to ice. Margaret fell ill in the second week pneumonia, the doc said, when Jack finally fought through the storm to fetch him. By the 4th, she was gone, her last breath calling his name, her fevered eyes staring into eternity. Jack buried her himself behind the house, hacking at frozen dirt until his hands bled. Back to October 1895, and now her sister was here, poring over Margaret's private words. The likeness punched him in the gut, but where Margaret had been soft as a summer rain, Sophia was a dust storm fierce, unyielding. "How'd you track me down?" he demanded, holstering his Remington. Sophia rose, and he noticed how the frontier grit was already toughening her up, erasing the city polish. Margaret's letters. She painted this place like paradise, full of happiness. Happiness? The word stung like barbed wire. "She died here in that very bed, begging for help I couldn't give." Sophia's tone sharpened, unlike Margaret's gentle lilt. "She lived first. 3 years, that's more than most get in this godforsaken dust bowl. Outside, thunder rumbled, a norther brewing. With Amarillo a hard day's ride through rugged badlands. This woman, this tempting specter, was stuck here. The idea should have scared him spitless. Instead, watching her glide through Margaret's kitchen with that innate poise, a spark ignited in his chest, dangerously close to life. For weeks blurred into a whirlwind. Sophia couldn't boil water without scorching Itchard biscuits, salty stew, coffee strong enough to wake the dead. But damn if she didn't try every dawn. Riding? She tumbled off her mare twice the first outing, nearly stomped by a rogue longhorn, but she climbed back up, jaw set. Margaret had taken to ranch life like a duck to water. Sophia battled for every inch, earning blisters and bruises with raw grit. And Lord help him, Jack couldn't stop staring the way she chewed her lip in focus, tucked stray curls behind her ear, tilted her head back in laughter that echoed across the flats. She was a Margaret. She was everything Margaret could have been in a harsher world. Then came the night that shattered the fragile peace. November winds howled like banshees as Jack rode back from Amarillo with supplies. Smoke hit his nostrils first, then a stench of sweat and desperation. Trouble. 3 outlaws had her pinned in the house drifters from the rail gangs, eyes hungry for more than shelter. Through the window, Jack saw Sophia cornered, clutching Margaret's Winchester, hands steady despite the fear in her posture. "Back off, you filth," she snarled. The leader leered, stepping closer. "Ah, honey, we're just looking for warmth. And company." Jack moved like a phantom, years of fending off coyotes and claim jumpers honing his edge. He slit the first one's throat, silent as death. The second spun, only to eat lead from Jack's Remington. The third bolted into the dark, but not before a bullet winged him. When the smoke cleared, Sophia crumpled into Jack's arms, the rifle thudding to the floor. She trembled like a colt in a hailstorm, feeling fragile for the first time. "You're safe," he whispered into her hair, inhaling her faint lavender scent. She lifted her gaze, hazel eyes stormy in the firelight, and the air crackled. Some barriers snapped like dry twigs. She wore one of Margaret's faded dresses, the green one with pearl buttons. Her hair spilled loose from the scuffle, framing her like a painting. In the glow, she was a vision that twisted his insides. "Jack," she breathed, and his name on her lips ignited a blaze. His hands cupped her face, thumbs grazing her jaw. She leaned in, lips parting, pulse racing at her neck. The dress had ripped, bearing her shoulders' smooth curve. His eyes traced it. She noticed, and instead of flinching, her fingers undid another button, then one more. Fabric pulled, revealing soft lines that made his breath hitch. She was exquisite, skin luminous, curves that begged touch. When she tugged at his shirt, fingers fumbling with want, he let her. Buttons popped, exposing his scarred torso marks from brawls, brands, hard years. Her touch trailed the scar, sending jolts through him. "Sophia," he growled, half warning, half plea. But she was past caution, hands at his belt. As skin met skin, the storm outside faded. They stumbled to the bed, clothes discarded like old regrets. She lay back, auburn waves on the pillow, reaching for him. He hovered, lost in her until his gaze hit the tintype on the nightstand. Margaret's wedding photo, her serene smile piercing him like a knife. Guilt slammed home. What the hell was he doing? This was Margaret's bed, her home, her blood. "I can't," he rasped, yanking away so fast she gasped. "Damn it all, I can't." He snatched his shirt and bolted to the barn, leaving Sophia alone amid tangled sheets, her face a mask of betrayal and ache. Outside, the gale quieted, but inside Jack a tempest raged. Some desires, once stirred, claw back with vengeance. 5 days of torment followed. They circled each other like wary wolves, Jack burying himself in chores, fixing corrals that held fine, scouting herds that needed no watch, riding till his horse foamed. Anything to dodge the accusation in her eyes. She kept up the routine, coffee brewed, meals attempted, still awful, but the easy banter died, replaced by a silence thick as fog. On the 6th morning, she vanished. No goodbye, just an empty house and hoofprints fading toward Amarillo. Jack stood in the doorway, clutching Margaret's photo of one that had saved him from ruin or maybe robbed him of salvation. He couldn't tell. 3 hours later, he was spurring his horse hard for town. The Amarillo depot thrummed with chaos. Cattle barons barking orders, families boarding coaches east or west, dreamers and drifters alike. The afternoon stage to Kansas City idled, dust swirling around its wheels. He spotted Sophia instantly in her wool travel coat, valise at her feet, staring at the coach like it was a noose. She looked vulnerable, stripped of the fire she'd shown facing down outlaws. The driver hollered, "All aboard." Folks climbed in. Jack tied his horse and strode over, boots thumping on the planks. She heard him stiffen but didn't turn. "Leavin'?" he asked. "Going home." Her voice held steady, but pain laced it. "There's a difference?" She faced him then, eyes blazing with hurt that gutted him. "You made it clear what I am to you, a mistake, a ghost. You're the most perilous woman I've known," he admitted. "You could make me break every vow, cross every line I swore sacred. And yeah, that's terrifying for a fella like me." The whistle blew, final call. Sophia grabbed her bag, but hesitated. "She's gone, Jack. Margaret's been dead 10 years, and you've been buried with her." "Maybe that's right." She stepped nearer, her lavender scent cutting through the dust. "But is it what she'd want? You rotting away?" Before he could reply, she boarded. Through the window, their eyes locked as the coach lurched forward. Her hand pressed the glass, like she might signal a stop, but she didn't. Jack watched it vanish into the horizon, then rode back to his hollow shell of a home, ghosts crowding thicker than ever. But some spirits fight to live. 2 days of agony pacing the empty rooms, haunted by her laugh, her scent on the linens, the bed's accusing emptiness. On the 3rd dawn, Jack saddled up without thinking, his gut knowing what his head resisted. He had to bring her back. The trail to Amarillo stretched eternally, each mile a battle with doubt. What words could fix this? The depot shimmered in the noon haze as he arrived, horse spent. His heart seized. There she was beside trunks, in a simple cotton dress, Margaret's green one, buttons mocking him, waiting for the eastbound stage, but gazing west, toward him. Eyes met across the bustle. The world hushed. He approached slowly, like taming a Mustang. "Thought you headed to Kansas City." "Made it to Lubbock," she whispered. "Couldn't go farther." "Why?" She studied her hands calloused now from ranch work. "Because Margaret's letters weren't just about Texas. They were about you, the man who made her smile with a glance, showed her beauty in the everyday, loved her so fiercely he'd rather wither than move on." The driver called boarding. "She also wanted you happy, Jack. Truly alive, not just breathing." Something shattered in him, walls crumbling. "Sophia, don't," she silenced him. "If you want me gone, say it. I'll board, marry some banker back east, vanish." She closed the gap, eyes flecked with gold. "But if you think Margaret would forgive us for choosing life over graves, ask me to stay." Passengers rushed past. Jack took her hand warm, vital. "Stay. Come home with me." The stage rolled away empty of her. As they rode back across the sweeping plains, shadows lengthening, they weren't fleeing yesterday anymore. They were forging tomorrow. Years later, their ranch Thrivedkid's laughter filling the house, cattle herds swelling. Jack and Sophia build a life from ashes, honoring Margaret's memory while embracing their own fierce love. It wasn't easy. Whispers from town judged their union as scandalous, taboo. But they proved love could heal if you fought for it. Guilt faded, replaced by gratitude for second chances, for storms that clear the way. What do you think? Was Jack right to move on with Sophia? Or should he have stayed loyal to Margaret's ghost forever? Drop your take in the comments, team loyalty or team second chance. Share your views. I'd love to hear how this story hits you.